Last offseason, it was the battle for the point guard spot. I wondered if KK could steal minutes from Nika. However, at the time of that video, we did not know another injury barrage was about to hit Yukon, which would require KK Arnold and fellow freshman Ashlyn Shade joining Nika Mule in the starting lineup. And well, here we are again, the start of a new Yukon offseason and fresh hopes that everybody can stay healthy, but there's still a point guard battle that is to be fought out between the now incumbent KK Arnold versus Kaitlyn Chen, the graduate transfer from Princeton. In this video, we are going to take a deep dive on that competition, but before we start, if you enjoy the content, then please give the video a like as well, subscribe to the channel. All right, let's get into this. Now, a bit of a disclaimer at the start of this video, I will be looking at stats, and yes, Bill, tell us.
You know how I feel about stats. Really, stats are for losers.
And Bill is right. I can make arguments based on stats, but this battle will ultimately play out during practices where they both get a chance to demonstrate how they would fill their role with the team, and basically Gino will choose the best player that gives Yukon the best chance of winning. Tell him, Gino.
And half of October, well, actually all of September and all of October, to determine when the games come in November, what is your role going to be on our team? Not what do you want it to be, but what is it going to be based on what you're doing and what you're showing us every single day. This is not a charity case. This is not a feel sorry for anybody. This is not coaches being mean to me. This is us trying to be fair to everybody on our team that we're trying to win games. And we're going to put people in positions where they can help us win games. And you look like a better player than you would be if we let you do things you're not good at.
But it's still fun to speculate nonetheless, and it seems to me in the media that people are already conceding that Kaitlyn Chen will likely be the starter in the Yukon backcourt at the expense of KK Arnold. In a few videos ago, I mentioned how Dan Conley had his starting lineup being Paige Beckers, AZ Fudd, Kaitlyn Chen, Ashlyn Shade, and Jana L. Alfie. As well, during the summer availabilities, I noted when KK Arnold was asked about Kaitlyn Chen, it's like, can you learn from her and use that for next year? That's what the tone of the question sounded to me. Take a listen, see if you think I have that right.
Do you like having someone like Kaitlyn to learn from then one more year, just to kind of put all the pieces together between Paige and her?
Yeah, of course. Two different guards and two different guard play, and kind of just picking Kaitlyn's brain as well as she was at Princeton, and kind of how she sees things, how she sees the floor is kind of one thing that I'll take advantage of this year and her last year.
And they obviously could be right. Chen could wind up being the starter. It seems like Gino Auriemma is impressed with her since the early practices, saying,
how was Kaitlyn fitting in?
Kaitlyn, terrific. You know, she's terrific. You know, she's a little bit older. She's played that position for 4 years. You know, a lot of the stuff that Carla does is similar to what we do. We've only had a couple workouts, and she's very, very impressive, to say the least. I really, really like her. Really like her. She's tough. She's smart. She's just easy to coach.
But I think this will be a very interesting battle when I look at the numbers from last season, as I think KK Arnold was better than most people remember. And I think others are making the mistake that Kaitlyn Chen will come in and take over that Nika Mule role as it's just one slotting in for the other. But when you look at their games, they're very different. Now, I don't see any scenario where KK Arnold and Kaitlyn Chen are in the starting lineup together. Again, never say never. It's YouTube. It'll last forever. If I'm wrong, people will post at me. But I just think they're two similar players. They're both 5'9", and their numbers are very similar. I think if they're going to go 3 guards to start like they did last season, I think it would be Ashlyn Shade sort of playing that semi-guard role or small forward. And if you look at the numbers last year, Kaitlyn Chen had higher scoring numbers than KK Arnold. So Chen averaged 15 points versus KK Arnold at 8.9. But everything else was remarkably similar in terms of their field goal percentage. Arnold was 45%, Chen was 48%, three-point percentage, Arnold was 33%, and Chen was 32%. And both shot an efficient field goal percentage of 51%. The only other difference was turnovers. KK Arnold was slightly lower with her turnovers being 1.9 per game versus Chen, who was 2.8. And then you would say with turnovers, well, Chen had a higher usage rate, and that is true, but then that might be the reason where Chen could struggle in the transition to Yukon, as her usage rate was 24.8% at Princeton, and essentially she is always playing with the ball in her hand. In 2021-22, it was 21%. In 2022-23, it was 27%. And like I said, a little bit lower last season at 24.8%. As I said before, KK Arnold's usage rate was 16.4% last season. And Ashlyn Shades was just a touch lower at 16.2%. As the one that dominates the ball for Yukon is obviously Paige Bueckers, and that is a good thing as she is so efficient. But in her freshman year, Bueckers' usage was 24.3%. Her sophomore year, it was 23.7, and then last year, the highest ever for her, and she needed to have it that high, was 29.2%. And then the last one to fit into the puzzle is Nika Mule. So last year, her usage percentage was 13.1%. And I know a lot of the narrative from the previous year was she had to adjust her game because Paige was back. Well, the previous year to that, when Paige was out with her injury, her usage rate was 13.5%. So Nika was always pretty effective without the ball in her hands or in her limited opportunities. So that will be the thing. Can Kaitlyn Chen adjust with a lower usage rate and still be as effective as she was at Princeton? Now, in Dan Conley's article where he looks at Chen replacing Nika Mule, he actually took a look back at how Lou Lopez Seneschal, when she came over from Fairfield, how her efficiency increased as she was required to do less. And that could be the same thing for Kaitlyn Chen. The only difference I would say is that she was always a shooter over in Fairfield and was having to handle the ball more. I would say Kaitlyn Chen's game is more getting to the basket and making tough layups, which she does really well. In addition, she has a good mid-range game, like she gets to the free throw line and has a nice little jumper there. Her three-point shot is developing, but she has not been a great three-point shooter over the course of her career. As I mentioned, last year she shot 32%, which is the highest of her career. Prior to that, she was 26%, and then her freshman year, she was 28% from the three-point line. So KK Arnold in her freshman year shot slightly better at 33% on more attempts, 91, versus Kaitlyn Chen, who shot 32% from the three-point line on less attempts, 67. And then if you look at the other side of the ball, I think it's pretty clear that KK Arnold has a better chance of being a better defender than Kaitlyn Chen. If you're going against South Carolina, who do you want putting pressure on the ball against Malaysia Fulwiley or Raven Johnson? Would you rather Kaitlyn Chen or KK Arnold? Yukon's defense, despite how small they were last year, they were rated 9th in opposition field goal percentage as they held opponents to 35% from the field. And detractors might say they padded their stats against weak opponents in the Big East, but it held up when they went to the tournament. When they faced Southern Cal, they delivered. And the same thing versus Iowa, as they made Caitlin Clark look a bit ordinary at times in that game due to the nice job done by Nika Mule. So I think the bigger question is, which of these two players will play better defense? And I think that's the one that will get more time. And the good thing is this will play out over practice like Gino Auriemma says. They'll put the players in there, see who looks the best, see who they trust, and it'll go from there. The other good thing is it's clear that KK Arnold is a leader and a good teammate. She is not going to pout if she misses out on the starting position. It is clear, like in the interview, she's much more confident this year. She's the one that livens up the room, and that's what you want from your point guard. You want that natural leader that's a bit jovial, and that's what she is. So either way, even if she's not the starter, that's fine. It really sets Yukon up for 25-26 either way, as Kaitlyn Chen will definitely be gone, and you would think that Paige Bueckers would be off to the WNBA as well. Anyway, now it's over to you. Who do you think will be the starting point guard in 24-25? Do you think it's going to be Kaitlyn Chen, or do you think it's going to be KK Arnold? Your thoughts, your poison, all is welcome. Thanks a lot for watching. Have a good night.